My interest in history goes back to family, like most of us. I come from an Irish-American background, and naturally there were lots of people who like to tell stories about the old days. My parents were both heavily involved in politics, so from a very young age I was involved in politics. So I've always been fascinated by the relationship between the state and politics on the one side and civil society on the other side. And unsurprisingly, my work as a historian has focused precisely on that relationship.
He's looking at the fiscal order in the early, in early modern France, 14, 15, 16. He's looking at the transition from the absolutist state to republicanism, and so and he looks at estates and orders and all the different social structures that exist and how things made those changes.
Indeed, understanding society in its relation with the state, that is a big question which he gave himself. And to answer that question, he went to archives, and I think that that is his great achievement and also gift.
The good scholar loves the research. They love to be in the archives. They love, as I say, smell the books. They love to look at particular dates, a particular text when it clicks.
All that made him one of the few best scholars of France who live today. I mean, it's enough to say that his books are translated to French.
Research and teaching are essentially the same thing. Teaching means being in a classroom with a group of students and discussing sources, discussing scholarship. Your own scholarship is extending that to a much broader audience. I view teaching and scholarship as a continuum and not as some kind of contradiction.
He teaches through primary sources and has students read primary sources, which is a great way to approach history.
What he's done is taken these stale records and brought life to them. Looking at tax records and other things like that, but not just the records, but the people who pay the tax, the people who they follow. And so he's brought life into it. And this is what any great scholar wants to do.
He places a huge emphasis on teaching his students to be better writers as well as better thinkers, and places a huge emphasis on methodology, as well as having kind of mastered his subject area in early modern France and early modern Europe.
One of his favorite sayings is from the great basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he said, Jabbar said that one doesn't go to college, it's not for how much you learn, but how you think. It's to teach you how to think, and this has been his role. And working with students.
This amount of time he spends with his undergraduates, working with him really opens the eyes for understanding not only history, but understanding what life was like, which for sure makes people better understand what life is now.
He blends the combination of what it means to be a scholar, a researcher, a teacher, a compassionate human being, and one who's dogged in their approach and cares as much about you learning as about they learning. And Jim Collins represents the best of scholars trying to bring together those disparate